Hello and welcome to the Somatic Movement and Mindset podcast with me, clinical somatic educator and founder of Total Somatics, Heidi Hadley. The Somatic Movement and Mindset podcast has been designed to help you gain a deeper understanding to how your mind and body work. You will learn about your amazing mind and body and why over time you can feel pain, recurring injuries and poor posture. Within this podcast, I will teach you why this doesn't have to be your future or the norm for you. Would you like to learn how to reduce pain, move freely, and gain a new lease of life? Let's get started. Hello and welcome back. Now, just before we get started, just as a reminder, if you are watching on the Total Somatics YouTube channel, please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and press the notification bell so you're the very first to find out when my next episode appears. And also, we are really close to our special event for May. And that is every single weekend in May, I'm going to be holding the Total Somatics Mindful in May workshop series. So I do it every year. This year, I'd really like us to focus on how we can reset and recalibrate your nervous system. And obviously this month, these episodes have really helped to prepare us to take a step further for Mindful in May. So if this is your first time listening to the episodes here for this month, please go back and listen to the last few because they all have a series, they all link up, and it's going to tie in beautifully with Mindful in May. So if you want to join me for Mindful in May, it's free and it's online, then go to totalsomatics.com/May. That's totalsomatics.com/May. And if you go to there, you can leave your email address. And then as we get closer to the time, which is only a few days now, but as we get closer, I will send you an email with the Zoom link so you can join me live. Or if you can't join me live, you can watch the replay. And the replay will be available for a limited time. So I hope you can come along because it would be so cool. So let's get started with today. So the last few episodes, we've considered how the startle reflex has shown up as the red light and the green light reflex. However, today we're going to consider how your brain patterns muscular tension as a result of injury or trauma. Now, you see, the reaction to injury or trauma can be seen from head to toe. There's no mistaking. Once you see what we know as the trauma reflex, it stands out like a sore thumb. And because it creates this sideways contraction of your trunk, it creates a tilting with your trunk. And so let's consider what we've learned in the last few episodes is that stress will impact the front and the back of your body. However, it doesn't impact through the sides. The only thing that will impact here is that trauma reflex, that response to an injury. And so what happens is that a contraction will occur through one side of the body as a result of an injury. So it could be, for instance, this impact, it could be a sports injury, it could be a car crash, anything that's happened. But the impact on one side creates this reaction to the sensory motor system to actually guard against pain and further harm. So it tightens, and there's often a rotation with the pelvis too. And it also accompanies breath holding. And so that impacts the muscles in and around your rib cage on that affected side. So in the last episode, I talked about the importance of rib mobility. And I encouraged you, either if you're in the Total Somatics membership, to go back and practice the rib mobility, somatic and pandiculation movements. However, if you're not in the membership, I also encourage you to go to totalsomatics.com and you'll see that there's a rib mobility audio class there. And that is so powerful. That's going to help to release a lot of the strong postural patterns that we've discussed. But if you consider this trauma reflex pattern, because there's an element of breath holding, a bit similar to the other two, there's an element of breath holding and dysfunctional breathing there, it impacts your rib cage. So can you see how important it is that we bring back rib mobility? So either if you're a member or you're a non-member, there are plenty of opportunities to access my rib mobility audio class. And if you do, it's going to really work well when we get together for Mindful in May with the workshops every weekend in May. So again, if you want to check out the rib mobility audio, which you keep permanently, go to totalsomatics.com and you'll see there's a rib mobility audio there. So please check that out. Because let's consider again with this trauma reflex, it's an instinctive reflex that causes us to move threatened part of our body away from that danger. So if we're moving it away, there is that, again, that reflex action or that pattern that's developing. And you see, a long-term holding of that contraction will impact things such as your spinal column. It's going to impact the curvature. People can develop things like scoliosis. And the reality is only a small percentage of people are actually born with scoliosis. The majority of people, it comes about through adaptation and habituation. So it's things such as the trauma reflex, which has changed and sculpted and molded the postural pattern that you have now with your back. So it changes the spinal curvature. It also impacts the muscle tension. So like we learned with the other reflexes, it will create an incredibly large amount of tension through one side, and the other side will be stretched and lengthened to its maximum. So again, there's a huge issue with muscle memory and coordination. Again, rigid, stiff, no issues. It's not really going to help long term. It's going to impact, again, your breathing, coming back to rib mobility. You can see how important it is here. But if you've got this tilt to one side and this sideways contraction, can you see how it's going to impact the muscles of your eyes? Because your eyes have to then adjust to see the horizon at a new level. Your inner ear, so your balance organs here, they're going to be impacted because, again, there's an adaptation. So there's a lot of changes going on between your brain and your ear. All of that balance, that sensory pattern and movement that's happening. Your joints will become impacted. Have you heard of people having one-sided issues? It could be a shoulder issue. It could be a hip issue, a knee issue, an ankle or a foot issue. Because if you're loading most of your body weight off center to one side, there's only so much time that your joints will cope with that load and that pressure. And before you know it, it will accelerate the aging of your joints. So can you see the importance of softening the side where there's contraction and bringing back efficient muscle movement and memory so that you've got that swagger, you've got that wiggle? Because we don't really want to be living in a tense, tight body, accelerating the age of our joints, increasing inflammation levels, and basically not enjoying the activities and the hobbies that we love to do. And also impacting our breathing. Remember, I mentioned in the previous episode, if you're not breathing deeply enough, that can continue to create a cycle of anxiety because it's just, again, short, shallow breaths. You're feeling overwhelmed. You're not getting enough oxygen into your tissues. You're not feeling sharp and focused. You feel this slumber, a bit tired all the time, fatigued, because your body's holding so much contraction and tension, and we're not getting enough oxygen into your tissues. So it's one problem after another. But you see, it doesn't have to be a long-term problem. And that's what I want to share with you, how we can move forward and recalibrate and reset your nervous system. Because I am sure, like so many people around the world, you want to reintroduce healthy movement, healthy posture, healthy sort of dynamics and rotation and movement back into your beautiful body. You want to be able to move freely. You want to have that shock absorbency. You want to have efficient muscle memory. You don't want to feel fatigued all the time. Maybe you'd love to get that power output back. Because just consider one thing. If your muscles are chronically tight and contracted, you don't have much power and strength. It doesn't mean that your muscles are weak, which is a common comment that people make is it's because you've got, say, a weak core or your muscles are weak. It's not. It's because your brain is constantly holding those muscles contracted. When we teach your brain how to soften from the belly of your muscle and let that tension go, you will be surprised how much more power output you have from your muscles. They are incredible. And that's why I want to share this powerful, amazing, beautiful work with you. So if you want to join me for Mindful in May, happening incredibly soon, go to totalsomatics.com/May. And as we get closer to the weekend, the first weekend in May, and then from there afterwards, I will send you through the Zoom link to join me live, or you can watch the replay afterwards. So I can't wait to share this work with you. So until next time, all my love and my very best wishes. Take care. Bye. Thank you for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and also forward this on to somebody you know will benefit. To learn more about pain relief, plus how to improve your health and well-being, go to totalsomatics.com. Until next time, take care.